Hello everyone, so in this video let us talk about a medium level problem from LeetCode. The problem name is find the original array of prefix XOR. Okay, let us talk about the problem statement first. It states that you are given an integer array of which is named as pref of size n. Now you have to find out and return the array AR of length n that satisfies the following condition. That if you take the XOR of all the numbers from 0 till ith value in the AIR array, then that correspondingly leads to the ith value in the pref array. So pref of I is actually the XOR of all the numbers in the actual array from 0 till I. That is the overall thing. And your overall question is that you have to just find out ARR because you're given pref as an array. Let's take some example to make it more clear. Let's say that this is the pref array that is given to you as an input. You have to find out this array that is the actual ARR array from which this pref array is deduced. Now, how it is deduced? Let us take an example of that. Let's say that you have this array in your hand. That is this array. Now, pref of 0 is the XOR of all the numbers from 0 till 0. First, let us understand what is XOR. So, they are different, you can say, bit manipulation of bit operators such as AND, OR, and let's say XOR. So XOR is generally used if if we are doing a XOR of them, then if the both of the bits are same, okay, then the XOR is 0. So 0 XOR 0 is 0 and 1 XOR 1 is again 0. But if the two bits are different, so let's say 1 XOR 0 and 0 XOR 1, both are equal to 1. Okay, that is the actual table for bit manipulation for operation of doing XOR on 2 bits. Now your eventual task is that you have to find out these XOR operators that you are given, that you have done XOR of numbers from all the way from 0 till the ith value. So let's say pref of 1 is the XOR of all both of these two numbers, because this is index 0, this is index 1. Pref of 2 is the XOR of all the three numbers, that is XOR of 5, XOR 7, XOR 2. Similarly like this. So as you can see that you are given these values, that is the XOR of all these numbers one by one, and that's the input. And that's the actual input, and you have to deduce this. Now, how can you do that? So this problem is not too much difficult if you just understand one, you can say, property of XOR. And if you understand and if you know that property, actually then only you can solve this problem. If not, then it will become quite difficult to first guess it out. But for that, you actually have to know the XOR property, that if you do a XOR of two numbers which are same, then that XOR is equal to 0. Like the XOR actually cancels out. Okay, what I eventually try to do is that 5 XOR 5 is equal to, as you can see, like they both cancel out. So XOR of two numbers which are same leads to 0. Okay, because they both cancel out. Why? Because as you can see, if I just write down 5 in bit manipulation number, that is 101, again do a XOR, they both are same, and when both of these bits are same, what I've told you, it will become to 0. This will become 0, this will become 0, this will become 0. So eventually this will become 0. So if I do XOR of two same numbers, then it becomes 0. Now what you can see here is that if I have the XOR of, let's say, pref of, let's say, 4 and pref of 5, which is actually equal to A0 XOR A1 XOR A2 XOR A3. Pref 4 means that till the fourth value. Okay, from 0 till 4, the first 4 values. Actually, first 5 values actually. Okay, and pref of 5 is the same values plus one value added. Why? Because this pref value is actually the XOR of all the values from 0th value till this value. Fine. Now, if I do the XOR of both of these values, this value and this value, then this consists of this value, this consists of this value, these values will cancel out each other because I'm doing a complete XOR, and these values cancel out, but only this doesn't have a pair to cancel out. The answer turns out to be A of 5. What you can understand from here, that if I have pref of I and pref of I plus 1, if I do a XOR of all these values, all the values till I will cancel out, because it also consists of all the values till I, and it has all the values till I. So both of them will cancel out if I do a XOR of both of these values. Two consecutive values, if I do a XOR of them, and the value that remains is A of I plus 1 will remain. And if I do consecutive XOR of all the values one by one, I will eventually get the series, which is like all the A of I, because I just want A of I. I just want this array of. So that is what I'm trying to do here, is that that's the overall logic for solving out this problem out. Let's talk about the code part as well. I hope you understand the overall logic. So the first value is the same. Pref of I is the same of AR of 0, because it is just the first value. Moving to the second value, that is I of 1. The x value is the prefix, like the pref XOR of I and I minus 1. Like if I do I and I minus 1, so as you can see, if the pref of I and I plus 1 will give you this value. If I want ith value, subtract both of them by 1. So if I do a pref of I minus 1 and pref of I, it will eventually give me A of I. And I actually want A of I, the ith value of every value. So I will just do a, you can say XOR of this value, and this will give me the every ith value in the array that I actually required. And then I can just push that into the answer and just print out answer. Okay, that's all logic, nothing much complicated. This is just done in one for loop, that is O of n. And this is solved using one property of XOR, that if you do a XOR of two same numbers, then they cancel out each other and then eventually lead to 0. So that they all cancel out and only the value that is left is the value I'm looking for, because ith value I'm looking for. So I can just do a XOR of every two consecutive numbers, that is I and I minus 1, so two consecutive numbers, and I will eventually lead to the ith value in each term, and I will just push that in the array. That's it. That's the complete logic in the code part for this particular problem. If you still have any doubts and if you want some more cool videos, check out this particular channel. And if you have any suggestion, put that into the comment box of this particular video. I will see you in the next one. Coding and bye.